Good day, this is SciPi. Today we're going to talk about fractions for the confused and bewildered. And the reason I say that is I have met many college students that are very good at math, but they forget how to do fractions. So not only are they confused, they're bewildered. Today I'm going to look at a different way of doing fractions. I know we think, okay, we live in the United States and we do everything the best, and that's true sometimes. But the British have a way of doing fractions that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to put up a simple problem. And I think today we'll just look at addition and subtraction. We know, or I know, the answer is 5/6. Now, let's look at it. We're going to use what we call the crossover. Crossover. And I make my students actually cross over. So let's look. How do you think we got the denominator of 6 using some of the numbers over here? Now I'll give you a clue. We can only multiply. That's what the cross means, multiply. Anybody? Hey, very good. 3 times 2 makes 6. That's exactly how we got the denominator. Now, does anybody know how we got the numerator? Well, it can't be 3 plus 2 because what did I say? We have to multiply. So let's look. Oh, you see it. Very good. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. So here I have the denominator. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3, and that gives me 5/6. Uh-oh, I didn't have to find the lowest common denominator. Is anybody out there saying hallelujah? I am. Let's try another one. Let's try 3/4 minus a half. Now remember, this works for addition and subtraction. So let's look. What do you think the denominator is going to be? How did we get it up here? Remember, cross over. Okay, we did over, didn't we? 4 times 2 is 8. How am I going to get the numerator? What did I do up here? I crossed. Now we always start up here on the left-hand side and we go down. So 3 times 2 is 6. What kind of sign do I have this time? That's right, I have a subtraction sign. 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, so now I have 6, take away 4, over 8, and uh-oh, I can reduce it. Why? Because they're both even numbers. So there is my answer. Let's look at another addition problem using the crossover method. So what is our denominator going to be? 3 times 2, 6. Now notice, I have just one denominator. Now I'm not going to make the mistake of adding denominators because remember in addition we work with just the numerators. We add just numerators. 2 times 2 is 4, plus sign. 3 times 1 is 3. So I have 7/6, which some books want you to leave as an improper fraction. If not, we're going to change it to 1 1/6. One more subtraction problem. Let's try 5/7 take away 1/4. And let's see if you can do it with me. Who knows the denominator? All right, excellent. 28 is correct because 7 times 4 is 28. Can anybody tell me what my sign is going to be on the numerator? Right, it's going to be negative. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Okay, who can give me the first number? Correct. 5 times 4 is 20. How about the second one? Good job, Seth. So I'm going to end up with 20 take away 7 is 13 over 28. And since 13 is a prime number, that cannot be reduced any further. All right, so we looked at crossover, which is crossover for addition and subtraction. So now we're going to look at multiplication. And that is just the over rule. And it's just very similar to what we do now. We just multiply the numerators and the denominators. Piece of cake, right? Now, let's look at division, and it's just called cross. And you'll remember in our last lesson, we did Kentucky Fried Chicken. Remember that? Keep, flip, change. And that works. A lot of students understand this concept very well. But let's look at a problem. Let's suppose we had 5/8 divided by 1/3. Now, if I were doing Kentucky Fried Chicken, I would keep the first one. I would flip the second one. And I would change the division sign to multiplication. And I would get 15/8 or 1 7/8. Now, in this particular method, we just do cross. When we do this, 5 times 3, that becomes our numerator. And when we do this, this becomes our denominator, and we still get 1 7/8. I personally like this because it's much quicker and I don't have to remember which fraction to flip and what to do with the sign. So let's try just a couple of division problems before we finish our session today. All right, so let's do another division problem. We're going to do it first this way with the keep, flip, and change, KFC. And then we're going to go over and do it just with the cross method. So let's keep the first fraction. Let's flip the second one. And what are we changing? That's right, the sign. And then we know that in multiplication, it's just over. So I get 15/18. Can that be reduced? Anybody? Yes, it can be divided by 3. 3 goes into 15, 5, and 3 goes into 18, 6 times. Now let's just do the cross method and see if we get the same answer. If it works, we should, right? So we have 5/9 divided by 2/3. So I'm going to do this, right? And that becomes my numerator. I'm going to do this because I'm starting with the denominator. It's going to become my denominator. Let's talk about that. If I start with the numerator and go down, that's going to be my numerator. If I start with the denominator and go up, that's going to be my denominator. So we get 15/18, and if we reduce, we get the same thing. Voila! So I think it's your choice. Do you want to use keep, flip, and change, or you simply want to use the cross method? All right, the next time we get together, I think we'll do some problems using these methods in algebra. See you next time.